The state was supposed to take care of this family, which was the victim of a crime. The mother and son acted with extreme courage and dignity at a very difficult time. They became victims of the state. The whole scandal has to do with the revelation of information about Civic Platform activist Krzysztof F., who was sentenced to 4 years and 10 months in prison in December 2021 for the crimes of paedophilia, drug possession, and inciting minors to use intoxicating substances. He was a representative of the Marshal of the West Pomeranian Voivodeship, Olgierd Geblevich, for addiction issues. In addition, he supported the election campaign of Warsaw Mayor Rafał Trzaskowski. This is, one might say, a stunt to cover Civic Platform's problems of paedophilia in its own environment. This person was in his office for 14 years and was responsible for educating young people. The case was only publicized at the end of last year, including by Radio Szczecin. Yesterday evening, the entrance to the radio station was doused with red paint. Earlier, radio journalists received death threats. Expressing great sympathy to Nicholas's loved ones, we would like to emphasize that the circumstances of the tragedy are yet to be clarified by the state authorities appointed for this purpose. Thus, bearing in mind the relevant proceedings and above all the wishes of the next of kin, we refrain from any comments. At the same time, we are appalled and overwhelmed by the magnitude of the heckling against any employee of Radio Szczecin. We have decided until the funeral not to comment on the matter at all. We have heeded the mother's request, but at this time it is impossible to remain silent when very many of our journalists, but also journalists from public television or Radio Szczecin, are receiving multiple death threats. There are already the first attempts to attack the editorial staff. It is clear that the opposition is trying to build a political prey for itself out of this. One of the victims of the paedophile, the son of a Civic Platform deputy, committed suicide. Opposition politicians and parts of the liberal media are calling for a boycott of TVP Info and Radio Szczecin, claiming that they provided information allowing Krzysztof F.'s underage victims to be identified. We should wait for the findings of the prosecutor's office, which is investigating the case. At the moment, we do not know very many things. The idea is to discredit those journalists who ask uncomfortable questions or simply write materials that the platform does not wish to see. A young law and justice activist, Oskar Szafarowicz, was among the victims of the hate campaign. Everything that has happened over the past few days bears the hallmarks of a planned and cynically hijacked campaign, and the tragic death of a young man has only become a pretext for launching it. What I regret most is the rising tide of hate is also affecting my family. I fear for my own safety and that of my loved ones. The action was intended to provide an avalanche of hate and to diffuse emotions. I think this is already a spiral of hate, which on the one hand is to cover up the problems in the Civic Platform, and on the other to blame the authorities for this tragedy. Krzysztof F. has worked at the Marshal's office for more than 20 years, first as an inspector, then as the director of the Department of Social Cooperation. Information on the details of his case, without any personal details or indications to establish them, was provided by Judge Thomas Schei, a spokesman for the district court in Szczecin. Convicted of paedophilia, Krzysztof F. worked with the Society of Friends of Children, among others.